Between Europe and Asia, economic dialogue, humanitarian missions, multi-vector operating and the search for compromises in the world arena. How else does Kazakhstan participate in the development of the modern world? More details, watch the program Kazakhstan International Vectors.
Today you will find out who's responsible for health security worldwide, what for the laboratory for cytology is needed, what is the evidence-based medicine.
An average life expectancy in the world is 71 years. At the same time, according to the World Health Organization, in all countries of the world, women live longer than men. Japan is the country with the greatest level of overall life expectancy. It is more than 84 years. It is followed by Andorra on the second place and Singapore on the third. Since 2000, the average life expectancy, or the number of years a person lives in good health, in the world has increased by 5 years. This has become possible due to the development of medicine, health reforms put in place in different countries, and a general change in the way of life of the inhabitants of the planet. Ensuring the safety of public health today is a priority area for the sustainable development of many states, including Kazakhstan.
It is practically impossible to put a correct diagnosis to a patient without the results of his or her medical tests. More than 1,500 different studies can be conducted by the in vitro laboratories network. This is the main center in Almaty, which consists of 7 departments with more than 30 specialists working upon the research, whether it is a human study, hematology profile or biochemical findings.
As you can see, there are different types of test tubes in our tablets, differing in color. Accordingly, for each medical test we use different types of containers according to some pre-analytical requirements. For children, for example, we use separate types of containers of a smaller volume, taking into account that we should produce less trauma for children while taking blood, for example.
There are also medical test reception points in 18 different cities and villages of Kazakhstan. Materials for the research are being delivered here in special bags in the shortest time possible. It is important that no more than 24 hours have elapsed since the analysis was taken and before the start of the research. More than 1,000 tubes enter the center on a daily basis. Each of them contains a material allowing to perform up to 15 medical tests. The container with biomaterial is equipped with a special barcode, a sort of unique identification mark for every test tube.
We have many systems that are integrated with each other. For example, this is a LRS system, a laboratory research service, which acts as a sorting program. Each tube that comes to us passes through a special apparatus, a sorter, and from that very moment we are already monitoring the way the tube is moving inside our laboratory. We know when the test material was taken, when it came to the laboratory, when it was sorted and when it went to the research. Accordingly, we trace the whole way of the test tube from taking blood to obtaining the result.
The work here is almost completely automated. All necessary manipulations with the material occur with minimal operator intervention.
It is just enough to bring the tube closer, open the lid, and the device will take the necessary amount of blood itself, and within 3 minutes it will display the indicators of this patient on the screen. The barcode is also read by the automatic system, and this apparatus, processing the material of medical tests in the special analyzer, sends the result already to the doctor's computer, and the doctor directly sees all these parameters. Nothing is done manually. The doctor just looks through these figures, confirms everything once again, and at this moment the analysis instantly goes to the patient.
Secondary microscopic evaluation is a must. It is when the laboratory experts once again check the biomaterial through microscope. Any errors must be excluded.
At the moment, the specialist prepares our software and equipment so that the biomaterial that has already been prepared and has been adjusted to the reaction is installed directly into the apparatus which reads the results.
Not a single sample goes to work before the operators check the equipment, and reagents do not conduct an in-lab control to look for any system errors.
We try to minimize the processes that are performed manually. We try to automate as much as possible all kinds of research that are subject to automation. During the year, we did a lot of work to exclude from our price range those types of research that are already out of date. Today we can boast of the fact that all types of research that are conducted in our laboratory are conducted on test systems of world manufacturers, which allow us to achieve a high degree of accuracy of results.
In just 1 year of working in this laboratory, Gulnara has proceeded from a rank-and-file research specialist to a production director. She does not just love what she does. Gulnara calls the profession of laboratory assistant an inexhaustible source of new knowledge.
In general, if we talk about the profession of a laboratory assistant, a laboratory technician, a laboratory specialist, and in general about the work of the laboratory, then this is a very interesting sphere, in fact. It's like an inexhaustible source that constantly moves. Something constantly changes and improves here. You should never stop at one place. We are growing and the systems are growing. Equipment changes, various technologies change, and working in the laboratory sphere, you will never say that this work has bothered you or has ceased to be of interest to you, because it changes all the time and you change with it.
The life in big cities creates many problems for their inhabitants, including the health problems. Often the liver suffers because it is liver that must cleanse the body of the harmful effects of ecology and an inappropriate lifestyle. As a result, more than a third of the world's population suffers from liver diseases. Previously it was believed that obesity and its constant companion, the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, is a problem only for developed countries, since there is higher income and people spend more money on food. However, with the invention of fast food, the problem migrated to the developing states. Fatty liver disease today is a huge problem for all countries, including Kazakhstan, because since recently we see how much the person's lifestyle has changed, how much the diet has changed, how much metabolism has changed. All this does not remain indifferent to the body itself, and liver is involved in all these processes. I can say that almost all people with excessive body weight or obesity, all patients who have high sugar, high blood pressure, almost all of them are detected in a more or less expressed fatty liver disease. The three main factors that can lead to severe liver disease are viruses, alcohol and obesity. It is known that 90% of people who abuse alcohol develop fatty liver disease. However, today, the non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is becoming more widespread in the world. This is a problem that is now relevant everywhere. In 2011, we have conducted a research among all patients who visited polyclinics for any reason, no matter the flu it was, medical examination, real hypertension, diabetes, and so on. So it turned out that the risk factors for fatty liver disease were detected in more than 70% of cases. And more than 40% had a fatty liver disease. They were mainly women. 60% of women in Kazakhstan suffer from that, and if we talk about the age, from 50 to 60 years old. This is the most vulnerable age. Since non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is, although a common but relatively new disease, the main task of healthcare organizations today is to inform both patients and the medical community about it. The Kazakh Association for the Study of the Liver is part of the European and Asian associations. Their activities are aimed at increasing the level of medical knowledge in the field of hepatology, the science of the liver. To this end, a study on chronic liver diseases was conducted in Kazakhstan this year, in which foreign pharma companies took part. Similar studies were conducted in other CIS countries, in particular in Russia. And now we, along with the Russian Association for the Study of the Liver, compare these data to understand what regional features do really exist. We even plan to make a general publication on this issue.
Of 1,446 people who participated in the study, 484 patients had primary non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Of these, 388 people developed the disease as a result of obesity, 241 people due to chronic viral hepatitis, and 220 patients due to type 2 diabetes.
Diabetes is now perceived in the world as a real tsunami of the 21st century. In Kazakhstan, about 300,000 people with diabetes mellitus have been registered so far, but experts say that the real numbers are much higher.
As a rule, for one patient with diabetes, for one officially registered patient with diabetes, there is one patient who does not know about his disease. And alas, we understand that diabetes mellitus is a silently proceeding clinical disease. The period of pre-diabetes, it is absolutely latent, without any symptoms. It is hidden and it can take about 7 to 10 years to be uncovered, and the patient does not know about it.
Taking care of the population, the government of Kazakhstan is already taking concrete measures. So since 2011, in the Republic, within the framework of the Salamat Kazakhstan program, the Ministry of Health is conducting a general study on the detection of diabetes mellitus.
The first thing done was screening, the national screening, which has been in operation since 2011, and annually more than 1.5 million Kazakhstanis over 40 years old are being screened. This is an analysis of blood sugar for people over 40 years of age. By this, we are already identifying one or another group of people who either have diabetes or have pre-diabetes. So this is the first. The next moment, in each clinic there are special health rooms, which are aimed at exactly the primary prevention, in which it is possible to obtain information on the nature of nutrition, physical activity, and so on.
Experts call prevention the main way to avoid this or that non-infectious disease. It is advised not only to follow the diet and lead a physically active lifestyle, but also to be informed, to be interested in the symptoms of diseases and risk factors, and also to undergo a professional medical examination on time.
When we talk about individual prevention, first of all there is awareness. That is, a person should learn about the risk factors. Now this is in principle quite accessible, because even on the websites of the Diabetes Association of Kazakhstan there is a very good infographics everywhere, where the risk factors are prescribed. That is, a person knowing the risk factors himself, he will be motivated first of all to change the way of life.
Several years ago, the so-called family doctors came to replace the district therapists in polyclinics and medical centers in Kazakhstan. These broad-profile specialists have long been working in the West. Moreover, the very concept implies that the specialist is sufficiently qualified and able to provide medical assistance to all: the child, the adult, and the pensioner. As for probably our specialty or even specialization, family medicine, then at some here in Kazakhstan time very big reforms, changes began. The Ministry of Health tried to introduce family medicine. Attempts are being continued to this day. That is, looking back at the West, in terms of the budget, it is beneficial when one doctor accepts patients and covers 90% of complaints. That is, it is not necessary to keep the gastroenterologist separately in the clinic, or a dermatologist or a surgeon who makes small manipulations. A family doctor will be enough. Such kind of a universal soldier who can do everything. Medical education in Kazakhstan is good, but the practice is not enough. Young specialists complain. For example, it takes about 10 years of studying to become a practicing family doctor in the United States. The terms of training of specialized doctors can be twice as great. In Kazakhstan, after 5 years studying at the Faculty of General Medicine, you can already get a general practitioner in a polyclinic for internship. In the West, students begin to work very closely with family doctors and have been doing this for several years. You sit at the reception, conduct the reception, only then you yourself start examining someone. All the time you're in contact with the attending, which presets you, controls your treatment, so you're always under control.
In 1876, the Association of American Medical Colleges was founded in Washington. Its tasks include improving healthcare and organizing medical care through innovative medical education, advanced patient care, and innovative research in the field of medicine. The association includes 145 American and 17 Canadian universities accredited in the field of medicine, about 400 large clinical hospitals, and more than 80 scientific communities where students undergo their internship.
Another trend in healthcare is evidence-based medicine. This approach to medical practice implies the use of therapeutic, preventive and diagnostic actions with proven effectiveness. In other words, the methods of treatment and drugs are appointed not in the light of personal experience or opinion of a doctor, but in the process of searching for information, comparing, conducting research and meta-analysis. In Kazakhstan, evidence-based medicine is only just beginning to develop. At the state level, the government has already stopped buying such drugs as Octavigin, Riboxin, Caventon, our grandmother's favorite drugs. That is, these are billions of tenge, which are spent each year to get these drugs to the clinic. But the state, focusing on evidence-based medicine now, understands that they are not effective. They are useless for these diseases that used to be treated by them and stopped buying them. Studies of certain approaches to treatment and new drugs require considerable investment. For example, in Russia, there is a special association of organizations for clinical research. In the US, similar studies are conducted by the American Medical Association. In Kazakhstan, medical research is conducted by the Ministry of Health and Social Development, with the support of foreign partners, including pharmaceutical companies.
These results can be used in any other field, in planning food safety, in informing and educating the population, changing and regulating nutrition in children's organizations. That is, now these results should become first of all the basis for carrying out preventive measures in our country.
Speaking about the health security in general, the World Health Organization is involved in the process of its provision. Since 1984, the main goal of WHO is to address international health problems of the world population. So to the member countries, the organization provides recommendations and helps to establish standards in the field of health, promotes the development of biomedical research, conducts statistical research and much more. Kazakhstan is also a member of WHO. In health issues, the Republic tries to keep up with other states, carrying out relevant reforms and expanding the circle of partners from the scientific and research environment. Kazakhstan puts the nation's health at the forefront of its successful development. This department of histology and cytology is unique for a private laboratory, says Gulnara. And it's not only about expensive equipment, but also because of highly qualified specialists. For research, the material collected during operations for the detection of cancer is received. Local specialists also conduct complex cytological studies. They study individual cells for the presence of oncological markers.
This department is very important, very promising in our development, and we would like to develop our own potential in the laboratory in this direction. It's very interesting, it's very necessary, it's very important.
In the process of ensuring health security in different countries, relevant ministries and departments, research institutes and pharmaceutical companies and international organizations are involved. However, scientists are sure that every person, first of all, must take care of his health on his own. It is necessary to develop for the doctors themselves, in addition to passing mandatory medical certification to confirm their qualification. There are a lot of books, but unfortunately and mostly 95% of books are in English. So again, for doctors who are now studying or have already learned but want to improve, I think that they need to learn English. This is the gateway to the future. In Kazakhstan, the state does a lot to ensure the health of its population. For example, universal immunization in the country goes under the control of the National Center for Drug Expertise. The country has developed a program called Densaolik for 2016-2020, which includes measures to strengthen the health of the nation and increase life expectancy on average up to 73 years. The development of healthcare is one of the main priorities for the country in terms of sustainable and stable growth of the well-being of the population. The healthcare system should become a single, developed, socially oriented and ensure accessibility, timeliness, quality and continuity of medical care.